morning, Joe.
How are you today?
We're doing great. Thank you.
The governor yesterday made some historic news that I'm sure is resounding very well in your world.
Yeah, actually, we're exchanging some text this morning, but yeah, absolutely, we're definitely going in the right direction. We've been watching the numbers, and he said from day one he's data driven. He'll follow the data, and he has done that. So I certainly give him a lot of credit. But I think people are ready. You've had it, and it's welcome news. It truly is.
Will the city of Quincy kind of follow in suit with the state guidelines?
Pretty much, absolutely.
Okay.
We've been doing that right along.
Sure. One of the biggest questions that's come up is, does that change plans for the Flag Day celebration?
I don't think so. I think that we've already made the adjustment. So go back. There's not a lot of time actually.
Yeah.
Takes some real time to plan all this stuff out. So, we're going to meet Thursday morning to go over it one more time, see if we make any changes to go back to what it was. But I doubt it.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see what happens Thursday morning with the committee meeting.
Okay. In the meantime, though, the parade as planned, and then fireworks out along Quincy Shore Drive.
That's correct. Yep.
Very nice. Also, it doesn't change plans, I guess, for graduations. Is that right? Those will remain the same as well.
Those remain the same. We had planned for one of each high school anyway.
Right.
So we're in good shape there.
Okay. Very good. Mayor, can we talk a little bit about your withdrawal of plans for a new home for Quincy College and how that transpired?
Sure. Yeah, well, we were in discussion with a number of the councils, and there seemed to be great apprehension and concern. So made the decision to withdraw the request for the appropriation with the understanding that I'm looking at other ways, other options, talking to our federal and state partners and see if there's another way to do this. But clearly the appetite was not there with the whole body, so we decided to pull it.
Where could it go, or where might it go?
Where might what go?
The college.
Well, I still think it's a possibility of going there, but we'll just perhaps use other funding sources. The concern seemed to be, one or two had concerns about the future of the college, but I think a number of the folks were just concerned that the Quincy taxpayers were going to be footing the bill for this. So we're looking at some other options, Joe. If we can see if we can find some federal money, some state money to assist us with the project. So we'll, we still could end up there.
Mm-hmm.
We might be somewhere else in the square, but I'm still a big believer in it. If we don't do this, I think the college will be out of business in the near future. I think it needs a home. I think it needs stability. For all the right reasons, and the college has an incredible niche that it serves, and that's what puzzles me a little bit with the council. They've been so outspoken about diversity issue, and here we have a college that is 47% people of color. So there didn't seem to be recognition of that. I'm not really clear why. And then of course one of the councils indicated the state. And then, they passed the resolve the state could take it over. Take over what? The college doesn't have a building. It doesn't have assets. The state would say, well, close your doors. They can go to UMass Boston or Massasoit. So that wasn't the answer at all. I do think it has a place. We'll be working with our corporate citizens to help come up with programs directly to train for what they need. All of the businesses in the city have been, I shouldn't say the word isn't complaining, but concerned that trying to get help with some background on training and in the world there each of those companies may be in. So I think a little bit more of a transition for the college and for the work world. I think it has a great niche. There's a lot of these young people that wouldn't otherwise go on. They really wouldn't. And this gets them their associate's degree. They build their confidence, and they go on in many cases to get a bachelor's degree. I was talking to a Vietnamese girl immigrant recently who just graduated from Northeastern, and she told me if it wasn't for Quincy College, she wouldn't have gotten there. She came here. She loved the city. She felt safe here. She signed up in the college. Was very, very happy with her education. Northeastern today at Edison, and she just graduated from Northeastern University with a bachelor's. So there's some great stories that come out of that place, and I think it's a positive to have the college part of our city. And I also know one of the councils is very dismissive of the college's economic value, alluding to how many hamburgers that are bought. The reality is the economic value is far greater than that. Perhaps if they put a bigger hat on, a global hat, there's hundreds of employees there, so they get a paycheck every week. That money gets back into the economy. I mean, there's all kinds of analysis done by the economists on what it means to the college. It brings vibrancy and vitality to the downtown. It's most communities would love to have some type of a college in their downtown. They really would, for all those reasons. So I think we'll get there. I do. Maybe not fully supportive of the council, but I do think we'll get there.
Could some of the federal CARES Act funding be used?
Well, the CARES Act is gone. This is the American Recovery Plan now that we're looking at. And, we're looking at all of that. Looking at that. We're looking at other options the Fed may have in other categories. We're looking at options the state may have in other categories. And, hopefully we'll be able to pull something together and keep this project moving.
Mm-hmm. Do you think the college's biggest challenge is enrollment, is increasing enrollment?
It is increasing enrollment. I think that one of the challenges the college has, quite frankly, is having a permanent home. I've said it a million times.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they get a couple of years left on their lease in President's Place. Who knows if President's Place wants to renew? I mean, the value of the building keeps going up. It's right off the Red Line, which is all the reasons we like the location for the college, because it's right by the Red Line. It's a commuter school. But if the President's Place doesn't renew, where does the college go? 80 to 100,000 square feet near a Red Line stop is not easy to find. Certainly not in Quincy for sure. So, we'll keep working it. I think there's still some great energy around it, and I think the college again has a good future. I think it means a lot to not only people of Quincy, but Dorchester, people of South Shore. You get the satellite Plymouth campus. It's meant a lot to a lot of people over the years. Almost 65 years old, and some people think it's a bad thing that it's a municipal college. I think it's a great thing. We should embrace it. We should support it. It's got a great mission, and I think it's a plus. It's an asset for our city.
I know you made your annual budget presentation to the City Council last night, Mayor. Could you just maybe give us...
It's not the same doing it by Zoom, but nonetheless we did. I would hope they'll get back into regular session soon.
Well, the Council President indicated that as well, so yes. But could you give us a little overview of the proposal?
Sure. It's a lean budget. We went back to, as you know, last year, mid-year, we made cuts based on the unknown with the pandemic. So we tightened things up and made some adjustments in the fall. And this budget goes back to the original budget, if you will, of this past fiscal year in numbers. Obviously, we had to use some reserves and to offset some of the projected, offsets in decline and some of the other receipts and so forth. So this budget does use some of the federal money to help us with our offsets as it was designed. Some of those areas of revenue where we're down, otherwise, if not for the pandemic, they would have been fine. So we're using money in that regard. Obviously, the budget has a major change in it based on the pension obligation bonds, which we've submitted, we've talked about, which would reduce our annual cost for pensions dramatically because we'd be wanting the unfunded liability, and because the historic interest rates is so low that we can borrow money for so cheap that this makes perfect sense. So actually the amount of money we have to come up with for the pension system each year drops dramatically. So we'll be saving millions of dollars every year in that regard. That allows us to, manage the budget, take care of our needs, and not have any major big tax increases. So it's a good budget in my opinion.
If that pension bond does not pass, what would that do to the budget proposal?
It blows it up. We'll have to go back, make some serious adjustments, and I don't think the council. It's a great opportunity. I don't know why they wouldn't pass it, quite frankly, and obviously they got to do their due diligence. But this makes too much sense. Which one or two of them I understand will not be enough.
Can we talk about the city's new health commissioner, Mayor, before we run out of time?
Sure. Molly Castley has worked at the health department for a few years, and he's a great guy. When we went out and advertised, we originally were out word of mouth with some specialists in the industry, and we interviewed a few people, and it didn't pan out. Then we posted it and put it out there, and the team interviewed a handful of people. They weeded through the resumes, and they came up with a final 2 or 3, and Molly was one of them. And he blew them away, and the people said, "Geez, we didn't know we had such talent right in the backyard." He's very well respected in the health department. He's got all his certifications. He's got his master's in public health. So he's it's another great immigrant story. He's an Albanian immigrant, and great kid. And I shouldn't say kid. I'm like an old man when I say that. He's a fine young man with great credentials, well respected in the department. I think he's going to do a great job.
And that's effective immediately?
Effective immediately.
Okay. Does that now open up a vacancy at his old position?
Yes, it does. And also Cindy DeCristofaro, who's a chief sanitarian, is retiring later this month. So we get a little shifting going on in that department. Yes.
Okay. Congratulations to her. She's done a great job for many years. That's great.
She sure has. Yeah. Indeed.
Mayor, finally, just I wonder if you wanted to comment in an impassioned statement from Councillor Palmucci last night regarding the proposed Department of Social Justice and Equity. Any progress on appointing your mayoral commission to that regard? We're
just about there.
Okay.
Probably next week we'll announce some things. We are just about there. I understand and respect where he's coming from, and I would hope you respect where I'm coming from. I just haven't seen the need for this department, and of course, when we asked for clarification, it was really one person, and then, I put a placeholder in the budget without funding, out of respect, but they want an entire department, evidently. I'm not so sure what the goal is there. I think we have an incredible city. We're more than a third immigrants, as we have been 100 years. We're a gateway city. We're a welcoming city. Councils wouldn't have any idea, really, some of them, about all the good work that goes on in the school system. And we've got kids from all over the world in our schools. We don't have these issues. Kids don't see color. Kids, kids, I don't care where you're from, we have worked very hard to keep class size down, to give every family a great opportunity to succeed. I just think it's a solution looking for a problem. And again, I respect Councilor Palmucci. I respect the body, but I just didn't see the need. So what I did indicate publicly, and I reiterated last night, that the commission I'm appointing will be looking at a number of things, and perhaps look at this issue and come back and revisit it. So we'll see what happens, But I don't think there was any real process or analysis. It's interesting because the council questions me periodically. In fact, quite frankly, many times about analysis and data and backup, and there's nothing that convinced me for any analysis of data or backup that we need such a department. And again, I say it respectfully. Every department has a tremendous mission. They do it very well. And this city is a welcoming community. Are there issues from time to time? Of course there are. And I don't care if you have a 50-member department, you're going to have issues. There's always going to be issues. We're talking about human beings. We're talking about flawed human beings. And each and every one of us can look in the mirror. So there's always going to be acts of ignorance or acts of hate, unfortunately. But that's just part of society, and we deal with it. But, there isn't this crazy issues. There aren't these crazy issues going on in that community that would warrant such a department, in my view. I just don't see it. So, again, I respect Councilor Palmucci. I respect the body. We just disagree on this one. It's just, we'll see what happens going down the road. And as I said, we may revisit it.
All right. Appreciate your time, Mayor, as always.
My pleasure, Joe. Enjoy the day.
Thank you. You as well.